He's one of the most renowned business coaches out of India, and I'm sure most of you would know this book, Lead or Bleed, by him, which has become an international bestseller. Through his coaching, through the business coaching that he does, he's impacted 5 lakh people, 5,000 individuals, senior professionals, and over 500 or 5,000 business owners. Now that's a huge number, the magnitude of impact that he's created. And I had the privilege of getting hold of him and talking to him. So we're going to ask him about, first, how do what has he learned in terms of scaling businesses? Why is he called ROI Guys? How do we work towards getting ROI and outcomes? And also, he's going to invite us for an interesting conference that he's part of by Success Gyan in January. So Rajiv, over to you. Thanks for the book, and please tell us, what have you learned over the years working with business owners, and what would you tell we should do to scale?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me here. And with regards to my own journey of learning, like I was sharing with you just before we went live, is that back in 2012, I went into a 70 lakh loss. And that was where I realized that for 8 years prior to that as an entrepreneur, I was living a lie. I had the name CEO on my business card, and I had 4 logos on it, and it made me feel good about myself. But the truth was I was making no money. And when the loss hit, then obviously you can't continue lying. You owe people money, you got to pay people back. Yeah. And that's when I came to a realization saying that I don't know how to build a business. I need to go out there and learn myself. So I went across India. I interviewed 300 CEOs to understand firstly the psychology of building a scalable business, and then the systems of building a scalable business. So I interviewed people of the likes of Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw of Biocon, Ashok Soota of Happiest Minds, C.K. Kumravale of Natural Salon. So across industries. And what I realized was that business is a science.
Yeah.
And until and unless you don't uncover the science and apply it in your business, everything you do is just out of your own gut or what you think is your own intelligence. So scaling a business is truly a step-by-step method. And that for me was a great revelation. And parts of it is what I've shared in the book as well. And I started applying it in my own business. My intention for the book was really to give something out to family and friends out of this research I've done with 300 CEOs. I had 2 shocks when I released the book. One, none of my family and friends bought the book. They wanted it for free. And second is that the book went on to become an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah.
And then I had entrepreneurs reaching out saying, can you help us apply the systems you're talking about in the book? And that's how I got into business coaching. And I feel blessed to have the opportunity to work with so many diverse entrepreneurs and support them in scaling their business while I get paid to learn.
Wow.
It's a dream job.
Yeah. We're coming to the end of the year and gearing up for 2019. And if you had to tell entrepreneurs basis what you've learned coaching and observing all the business owners and entrepreneurs, what would that be? Like 1 or 2 things which is important?
I think the most defining factor in any business is not the entrepreneur, but his second line team of leaders. What I see in most businesses is that everything is dependent on the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And most entrepreneurs act like perfectionists. They want to get everything right. That's why they're controlling everything. Anybody who's scaled their business are people who've let go. And they are people who understand that success is shabby. Success is not perfect. So the willingness to let go and empower others and build a strong second line team of leaders is going to be one defining factor of whether you're going to be able to scale or not. That's definitely one thing entrepreneurs need to keep in mind.
Amazing. And I also wanted to ask you about what can one expect from the business coaching, because in India it's still, at least in the startup space, we hear mentoring, but from a business coaching, it's not as big as in US and
Yes.
other markets.
Yes.
So if one had to get you as a business coach, what are some of the expectations that a coach fulfills?
So again, coaching, consulting, there's no barrier of entry. So anybody and everybody can claim that they're
Yeah.
a coach or a mentor. So one of the things I always tell people is that when you're working with a business coach or consultant, first check what businesses have they built. Otherwise, it's just good talkers. Okay, you're good at speaking or presenting, and you can call yourself a coach.
Yeah.
So I think one is if somebody's not been there and done that, then their credibility is a question mark.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Second, what to expect from a coach. I think the biggest job a coach plays is of an accountability partner. And I think entrepreneurs desperately need accountability.
Yeah.
We're always bustling with ideas. We need somebody to channelize our energy to finish things that we start. We initiate a lot of things. We don't finish what we start.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest value addition of a coach. So these are a couple of things that I look at as checkpoints when I tell people why they should take up a coach.
Wow, I think I need a coach. So you've created this unique PACE system.
Yep.
What is it? Tell us about this.
So one of the things I did was, while I was interviewing 300 business owners, I was looking for patterns. What are the common things that they're doing? Whichever sector they come from, success has a common pattern, right? So what I realized is that there are 5 stages that anybody has to take their business through to be able to manage it effectively and build a second line team of leaders.
Yeah.
So we call it the PACE system. It's an acronym. What it stands for is performance acceleration is a result of clarity, competence, and culture enhancement. So there are 3 C's. If you want to accelerate your performance, 1, you need to check whether your team is clear about the goals, roles, systems, strategy. Then, are they competent? Do they have the skills, knowledge, and ability to deliver on those clarity? And third is, you may have clarity, you may have competence, but if you don't have a tight culture, then even the most competent person becomes unresourceful.
Yeah.
So to be able to accelerate performance, you need to enhance clarity, competence, and culture in your business. That's the idea behind the PACE system.
Wow, interesting, very good. Yeah. And what's this Quantum Leap program? And I think that number which I was talking about, impacting so many lakhs of people, you've done through that. What is this Quantum Leap?
So Quantum Leap is my company's name.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was my first venture, which I started back in 2006, 2007. And what we do is I get invited to speak at entrepreneurship forums across 6 countries in Southeast Asia, and thousands of entrepreneurs come into these events, and that's where I'm able to create that reach. Obviously, I work a lot on social media and put out content as well. And then a lot of entrepreneurs want to work with us one-to-one. So at any given point of time, my team works with 500 business owners for a period of 18 months, hand-holding them to scale up their business.
Interesting.
So that's how we kind of play the role of a business coach.
So you are an entrepreneur yourself.
Yes.
And in your second stint as an entrepreneur, what do you think you're doing differently?
In my first stint, everything was dependent on me. In my second stint, nothing is dependent on me.
Wow.
And I think that's the big shift. And especially in a business like mine, it's a persona driven business. It's a name driven business. The brand is my name. But yet, I don't coach any business one-to-one. I've created a system, I've created an environment. I teach, I train, but I have a team of business coaches who are extremely competent, working on these businesses on a day-to-day basis. So they are implementing the systems that I teach. So I've learned how to create things in a manner where it is scalable and can work without me. That is what is different in the second stage.
Wow, very impressive. And I think every entrepreneur at a certain scale of their journey would relate to that wish we had that learning beforehand, but amazing. So tell us about this national, we're talking about your coaching. So what's this National Achievers Conference? What is happening there, and how can entrepreneurs and all of us participate?
So National Achievers Conference has been around for over 2 decades. It's one of the world's most prestigious learning events. You have the likes of Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, Anthony Robbins. These are the kind of names that speak on the platform of National Achievers Conference, and thousands of entrepreneurs come into these events to learn. The National Achievers Conference first came to India in 2014, and it was brought by Success Gyan, which is India's largest seminar organizing company. They brought in Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, back then. Now they are bringing the National Achievers Conference back to India in the month of January. So there's a 4-city tour along with Jack Canfield, the author of the international bestseller Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So Jack Canfield's coming to India. So it's a 1-day event where entrepreneurs come and you have experts with varied expertise who give in their knowledge, okay, put it out there for entrepreneurs to take and integrate in their lives and produce great results. So Jan 9th, we're doing a National Achievers Conference event here in Bangalore. 11th, we're doing Mumbai. 13th of Jan is Chennai, and 15th of Jan is Delhi. So it's a 4-city tour where it's going to be Jack Canfield. I'm going to be one of the speakers. Then you have Nick Halleck, who's a trillionaire. So it's a one-day, high-impact, inspiration come networking event, which is a phenomenal platform. A lot of success stories get started from there. I call it the temple of transformation.
Wow. And so if one has to find out more details, then how do we
well, they can visit nacindia.co.
Okay.
That's the website where they can visit and kind of get the details and be a part of the event.
Okay. And last, I have to ask, because when and sorry, but I'm going to say this, is that when it comes to business coaching, consulting, there's also this whole thing that बहुत सारे ज्ञान होते हैं, मगर outcome क्या होता है.
Yes.
But what I found very interesting is that you have this ROI guy attached to you, right? So what is this? And
so I'll tell you how it came about. 2006, when I decided to get into the training and coaching space, my dad is an 8th standard dropout, Sindhi businessman, retailer, and I told him that I'm going to get into training and coaching. So he asked me, why would anybody pay you money? I said, because they will learn, and because they will learn, they can perform better and they can produce better results. Then he looked at me and said, will you take the money after the results go up? Okay. So I said, well, I have conviction in what we do, so yeah, I can do that. So my initial stints of projects that I used to do was in that format, where it was pay on performance. And the kind of growth we were able to create was exponential. And even today, most of the entrepreneurs that work with us, they tell us, you undercharge. I say, yeah, because we give you a huge return on investment. So that's why somebody came up with this name of ROI guy, and it just stuck.
Wow. No, interesting issue. And Rajiv, honestly, this is I think we need people like you and result orientation driven business coaches, because the whole thing in it, at least, and I might be very biased, is that consultants or coaches.
Yeah. In all honesty, sometimes when you meet a person and they ask me, what do you do? I say business coaching. I know what is their perception at the back. It's not something that you're like, wow, you're a business coach. You're like, oh, you're just another business coach. Because again, no entry point, no barrier to entry. Anybody and everybody is calling themselves a coach. Okay. And that's the reason why it's an overused and abused word, not the best job title to represent yourself with. But again, today we are doing things at a scale where people know that, okay.
And but someone like you've already created that kind of an impact for businesses. I think that's what matters.
Absolutely. So I've been through that stage, and now because of the successes that we've created, it just keeps on growing.
For all you might be one of the guys who will open the whole business coaching segment in India, right?
Yes,
I think there's a huge market here in the country for this.
It is. And what I love about entrepreneurs is that there's a drive and hunger to learn.
Yeah.
No school or college teaches business.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if you've done an MBA, it's theory.
Yeah.
Here, when you're handholding an entrepreneur through their journey and you're measuring performance on a week-on-week basis, obviously it creates a support system which an entrepreneur needs but never had before.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very upbeat about this space, and I know it's only growing in India.
Yeah, and we hope to see you as the #1 business coach, if not already, in the country. So please meet Rajiv Talreja at National Achievers Conference, which is happening in January, and this is the book. I'm going to read it tonight, Christmas Eve, with lead or bleed, because, as entrepreneurs, I just absolutely relate to what you're talking and what you're saying. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shraddha.
Thanks a lot. And we've tagged your Facebook page, so people can connect there also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.